everybody. Welcome to the Worst Talk Show. It is episode 32.
I never thought we'd see it.
But here we are. I'm Angie C. That is handsome boyfriend Dave. Looking extra handsome with his blue blockers. I realized they're not blue blockers. He got safety glasses for work that also are bifocals so that he can actually see things now, which is super cool. But when he put this particular pair on, what did I say to you?
She's like, you look like Allie G. And I was like, Allie G, who's that? And then I was like, I just don't see it. I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't look like Allie G at all.
Well, that sounds like John Travolta in Saturday Night.
I wasn't doing
Allie G, so that was good. I like that. I actually like that look as well.
Stains represent.
It's hard for me to deal with the up visor. That's just not how we did back in the day.
That's how we used to do it back in the tendencies. You know what I'm saying?
I just could not deal with that at all. But yes, so tell everybody about your new blue blocker situation.
I found this company called Bomber. They make safety glasses, and there's a couple cool things about them. They make all different kind of hip styles, because I'm a hip guy. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but all of the glasses float. So you're out there and you're swimming around, and the glasses fall off and a wave hits you, and the glasses don't sink to the bottom. So say you're drunk at a pool party or at an event at a beach.
Or you fall off a cruise ship.
Or yes, you're pushed from a cruise ship, perhaps.
Holly, Smitty, Casey, everybody's in the house.
Now, I'm not saying they can be used as a flotation device. Don't get me wrong. But
I guess that's an important feature of sunglasses or reading glasses. I never thought about.
The foam makes them very comfortable.
Do they float?
They're actually bifocals because, regrettably, I'm getting old.
Vicky Salapande is here as well. Hello, Vicky.
Hello, Vicky.
Michael Maloney also here.
No baloney.
Welcome to episode 32. We're so excited. Rice is joining us at 8 o'clock. Rice Edmonston.
And you know what they say, Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat.
So we're getting our very own in-person pal advice from Rice. Ooh. So for those of you who don't know our friend Rice, and yes, we've been talking about his new tune, and we're going to be playing that video at the end of the show tonight, hopefully, if all goes well. Rice is he's one of our favorite human beings on planet Earth, like bar none.
Yeah,
really, like,
yeah.
Top tier favorite people. But since the pandemic started, every morning he has a ritual, and part of his ritual now is to record himself doing pal advice from Rice, where he just sort of coaxed us through those first few months, although he's still doing it.
Yes, he's been doing it for going on a year.
Do you guys remember last March and April when we were completely freaked out?
Horrified and scared. Rice
was one of those calming voices and faces that you would see every morning, and he'd be like, hey, it's your pal Rice. And he would do things like, you know, make sure you remember to take a shower this week. Like, but it was like really,
and really he would remind you that he loved you.
Yeah.
You know, and which was nice.
Nikki T.
Because I don't hear that a lot around here. It's not.
Yeah, Nikki T also says the glasses look like Bono, but that they rule. So I guess that's a really good thing.
Okay, ruling is cool.
Yeah, I mean, anything on the handsome face just makes the
ruling
face
is cool.
More handsome. So we're excited. Bryce is going to join us around 8 o'clock. We have lots of stuff to get to for recommendations for you guys, things to watch, things to not watch, things to listen to, and then things to eat, make, and bake. I just came up with that little catchy phrase. Pew, pew, pew.
Wrap it up. That's it. That's the show, everybody.
Has anybody watched any of the stuff that we've recommended lately, and are we great for recommending it? That's what I'd like to know as well. What does Holly Cantor say? My feet remained clean thanks to Rice.
That's right. Wash your feet. That was another big one.
Another big one. Yeah. Because I think, you know, the underlying current of the beginning of the pandemic is that whether you had any kind of behavioral health issues or not, we were all collectively in the anxiety and depression boat because it was a whole new thing. We had no idea what was going on.
Right?
I remember when we first took a drive out. Do you remember that? And we had masks on. We had the bandanas on our faces, and it was like a ghost town. And we would see people, and we were like, "Do they have a mask on? Do they have a mask on?"
Don't come near them.
Like it was totally insane.
Jim Pericotti says that I live where the streets have no name.
Jim Pericotti runs
Jim,
Manicotti.
Jim,
Always on.
You make me want to run. You make me want to hide.
First up, the Golden Globes. Did anybody actually watch the Golden Globes this week?
Not me.
I think I stayed for about 20 minutes. It was all Zoom except for Amy Poehler and what's her face, the co-host. Why can't I think of her name? The most delightful female.
Wow, I can see her face.
Actress.
Yeah, I can see her face.
They've hosted for the last few years, and I'm completely spacing.
You know why you can't say it? Because Amy Poehler's name always comes after Tina Fey.
Tina Fey. So Tina Fey was broadcasting live from like the Beverly Hilton or something. I can't remember. It was at some hotel in LA, and then no, Tina Fey was in New York. Amy Poehler was in
Maloney and Salapande.
So they had a split screen and they both had the same backgrounds. So it looked like they were doing the monologue together, but they were actually 3,000 miles apart.
Genius.
So I thought that was actually pretty cool. But all of the majority of the people that were nominated, I think all of them really were on Zoom. And then they did have some presenters come in live. I think Jane Fonda got the Cecil B. DeMille award. I know the ratings were abhorrent. Did Angel say that? Yeah, ratings were low. And you know, I watched for the first 20 minutes and I'm like, I'm all done. I do Zoom meetings all day long. I don't want to watch this.
But
you know
listen,
what I mean?
wasn't there a point in the show where you were like, hey, they're just like us?
Yeah, when Jason Sudeikis won, and I had to watch this on the replay the next morning because again, I went to bed 20 minutes in.
Jason Sudeikis won for
Ted Lasso.
We told you so.
We told you how good that show was. So Jason had on like a tie-dye, I think, like a tie-dye hoodie, and was very sort of laid back, casual. But a lot of people who were first timers got dressed to the nines and then sat on their couch. So that was funny too. Jodie Foster and her wife were on the couch in their PJs, and it was adorable. And she won for the Mauritanian, I believe it's called. For some reason, I can see the comments, but I have to keep refreshing. Nikki T, how did the chick from Queen's Gambit look? Amazing. She had mermaid hair like to die for. It was all like really white blonde, but it was like woo all the way down. Super gorge. Jim Pericotti says should have had Ricky Gervais or Borat be the main host. Well, Borat did very well. Took a lot of awards.
He was too busy getting awards, apparently.
But a little nod into the worst talk show. The very first award, Daniel Kaluuya, who we told you is so good in Judas and the Black Messiah as Chairman Fred Hampton, won, and there was no audio, just like us.
So
we went to the footage and there was no audio. So he was upset, and when they finally, and it was like a whole thing, and Laura Dern, who was the presenter, who was live in New York, they cut back to her and she's like, and they finally get back to him and get the audio right in the middle of him ranting, you done me dirty, you done me dirty. Like he totally thought that was it. His chance was over. So it all worked out in the end. But I was like, hey, even major award shows have Zoom issues, just like us. Mm-hmm. So that was really funny. And I don't know, was there anything else good that I missed? Megan Tracy and I called the Queen's Gambit sweep so far 2 for 2. Yeah, they did pretty well. I think, you know, it sort of went as expected, I thought. Sean O'Brien is here. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Sean.
Michael Maloney, did you jump off and come back on? Because that's what's happening here. And I don't know why this is happening, but anyway.
I haven't we just got this today.
So
in the mail.
by the way, thank you for everybody that helped hit the Venmo tip jar and get us a new device. We got a new device and we're still figuring it out, but we can now see the comments and there shouldn't be any issues anymore. So let's get right to what we watched this week.
I didn't watch anything.
That's not true. You watched a lot. But the first thing we watched was something that we kind of caught up with, and the series, perhaps season finale, is this Friday.
A very special episode of WandaVision.
I thought it was actually all done, so I'm like, oh, let's just catch up and watch the last.
And I'm like,
3
wow,
episodes.
they didn't like tie any of these loose ends up. She's like, yeah, it's the last one. Meanwhile, there's like 3 other episodes left.
Yeah, it wasn't the last one. Sorry, but the last one is coming this Friday, and it will definitely be interesting. There were a lot more big reveals.
Wait a minute, the last one's coming this Friday?
Yes, that's it.
I'll reserve my judgment
No,
until next Friday.
I did my research. That's it.
Oh, now you've done your research.
Yeah.
Wow, you got to
WandaVision,
start somewhere.
I don't, and believe me, we didn't know there wasn't another episode, and we were going, what were we saying to each other? I don't know. That's just kind of, but now I understand that it's going to tie into everything else. And
I'm kind of,
what's the next movie? Is it the Loki movie? Actually, I think the Loki TV series on Disney Plus, and then the next Thor, I think, is the next big.
I don't know, man. They're keeping it low key. So.
Wow, that was a little Loki joke.
I just had to do it.
That was good.
I had to do it.
I was so bored the other night that I started watching a French television show from a couple of years ago, subtitled, called Tripalium. And I'm sure that's not
with a question mark.
Pronounce it in French. Tripalium. I don't know.
Tripalium.
It's a not too distant dystopian future where unemployment rate around the globe is 80%. And you're like, that's kind of a realistic thing that could happen.
That's a tough work.
And
environment.
so there are 3 classes of human. There are the upper class, they're the active class, meaning actively working, and then there are the jobless, who are not even considered really human and have a wall. There's a wall around the city and they can't be in it, so they're like in the no friend zone.
They've been banished.
Yeah, but it's a really interesting movie. If that's your jam, I'm sorry, TV show. If that's your jam, check it out, Tripalium. But as it was being in French and we were watching things separately, a funny thing happened.
We kind of cross-pollinated there a little bit. I've been meaning to watch a film from the mid to late 1960s. It was an award winner in some of the international film festivals, called The Battle of Algiers. And it is a story of the city of Algiers resisting the French Foreign Legion back in the 50s and 60s, the country of Algeria fighting for their independence. So it's in the Criterion collection, I believe. It's a classic.
Well, isn't that fancy?
So I went down the French Foreign Legion rabbit hole this week. So I got the Battle of Algiers, okay, and I also watched a film called, let me see, Legion of Honor, which is based on a true story.
True story.
Also based around the Algerian independence battle. And they said that Tom Hardy starred in it.
Let me guess.
Tom Hardy was not the main character. He was a great character. The main character was not as riveting as the Tom Hardy. But all in all, I learned something about the French Foreign Legion. So
are we going to go to France then? Is that what's happening?
No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to join.
You're such a huge fan of geography.
Oh, is that, I'm not doing it.
Oh, come on. When we were trivia
Listen,
hosts,
guys, I've taken many, many scientific polls, and it always comes out that everybody's favorite category in trivia is geography.
it's actually the least favorite.
So
But
I
Dave
did a
was-
little bit of geographical, historical, I don't know, learning this week, really. It's tough to keep up with the French with the subtitles, though.
I will say this, between Stanley Tucci and the French stuff, like we really need to travel the second we're allowed to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, the second we actually have some money to travel and we get updated passports, we need to go to all these places, because I'm so done sticking around the USA right
Well,
now. Done.
I was gonna say I'll take you to the Casbah, but actually, like, the Casbah was where all the poor Algerians lived. It was like the slummy area, and like the French, the French area was the high class area in Algiers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not good at geography.
But listen,
I like
they're
that
both
over there
worth.
because it's pretty.
They're both worth a look. The Battle of Algiers feels like almost, cinema verite, because I don't know any of the actors.
See, now Nikki
So it
T
feels
is
really,
just,
really,
Nikki T is just sucking up with that whole, like, I love geography. It's the best subject in trivia. Thanks a lot,
Thanks,
Nikki.
Nick.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. She's always there to back up a friend.
Who has a Nikki T photography shirt on in her profile picture on Facebook? This gal. But who's got my back? Not Nikki T photography. Snowpiercer. We were actually debating this a couple of weeks ago when they were going to pull the old Lost card out and start doing flashbacks before the freeze.
And just as a matter of course, I have to tell people, in all honesty, I didn't watch Lost. I didn't watch Lost.
Lost was a phenomenon at the time.
It was lost on me.
It definitely had some seasons that were terrible and poorly written, and at some point you realized these people have no idea where this story is going to go either.
Every time I saw the main
did not
character,
have a plan.
I started singing, "Everybody wants to be closer to free."
Nikki T, you were a travel agent? I did not know that about you. I want you to be our travel agent. I bet she could tell us all the right places to go.
Was his name Matthew Fox?
Yes.
Is that the main character's the actor?
Party of Five. He was in Party of Five.
Yes, the
I
Bogey.
was on
love
Party
the
of Five, by the way. Did you guys know I was on an episode of Party of Five? I totally was. And I'll save that story for another time. But I was on the episode that they went to a show to see REM. I'm on film. Believe it. And it was one of the most boring days of my life, because all you got to do is sit around and wait, and craft services is terrible.
It was all a dream. Was that when
Oh yeah, Lost.
Was that when Bobby came out of the shower? Is that what happened in Lost?
Saint Elsewhere ended with the autistic child and the snow globe, and I could not believe it.
That's crazy, yeah.
And I watched it at my best friend Jasper's house down the street, and I walked up and I knew my mom watched Saint Elsewhere, and I was like, "Oh my God, did you see that episode?" And she was like, "Your grandmother died," and I was like, "Okay." So there's that.
And scene.
And scene. So Snowpiercer gives us some flashbacks as to how and who, what, when, where, why, how they got on the train, who didn't make it on the train, and why she left her family behind. And we're not being super spoiler here. If
it's
don't
cool.
See it, we love the show.
Right. And you know what? Look, it's far-fetched. It's a lot of things. Okay. It's
based on a movie that is excellent, was like a sleeper hit for sure. So watch the movie first. Chris Evans is in it, and the best acting I've ever seen from Chris Evans is in the movie Snowpiercer. So definitely check it out. But this TV show has one of the main characters is a dude from Hamilton, so everybody's like crazy. Yeah. And then the other main character is Jennifer Connelly, who we all know and love.
Oh, and now they added Sean Bean as the slimiest. He's so brutal. I can't stand him.
And by the way, a little push for Wayne. Casey Riddle's just mentioned Wayne, but I don't know if it's the same Wayne. Probably not, but we love Wayne on Prime. If you're looking for something fun to watch, definitely check that out. And Smitty concurs with us.
He likes Snowpiercer the movie's pretty cool.
Definitely check it out. I think it's on like Netflix or whatever.
Tilda Swinton's in it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's really good. And the TV show does not totally mimic. It's not just like a retelling.
No,
There's
it's
a lot
worth
more
it
going
because it
on,
branches off
yeah.
and yeah.
I think that you will like it very much. What else have we been watching? Didn't you have other stuff too? It's okay.
Well,
we can get to music. We do have a lot of music stuff to cover.
We did watch, Stanley Tucci again.
Yeah, and now we have to wait for the next episode. Like that. Now we're like, you got any more of that Stanley Tucci?
Oh
like,
yeah, baby.
Yeah. I'm so like ready for more. And yes, we watch it while we eat dinner. I feel like that's really the only way to watch it.
Otherwise, yeah.
And I successfully have avoided pasta at this point. I don't know how, because every place Stanley goes, it's all about pasta, and it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
So Mask, MSK from Still Gold, they had a new song, a new video out this week, which we shared on the show.
Excellent.
Really, really well.
Yeah.
Like well done video, but
really
good song. Some other new music that came out. Boss Tones released the name of the album, which I think is When God Was Great or something. I don't know. It's a weird play on words, but the second single is called I Don't Believe in Anything.
We don't know who sings it exactly.
Well, I mean, Dickie's definitely on vocals, but I'm pretty sure that's Gittleman on vocals as well, and they're trading back and forth. However, it could possibly be Nate Albert as well, because Nate's been back in the fold for this record, and Nate and Joe can often sound similar. So I'll be interested to figure that out as well. It's a very, very catchy tune. Allison says Sean Bean is a snack. It's funny. I love Sean Bean. Hate him in Snowpiercer.
Oh my God, he's
such a bad guy in Snowpiercer.
He is like, oh man, he is just the most narcissistic.
Oh yeah,
just heartless.
He's a jerk face.
Oh my God.
Definitely a jerk face.
He's like Donald Trump's slimier English cousin.
So definitely check out Still Gold. Also the Boss Tones. So there's only 2 songs released so far, but I'm assuming the album comes out within a couple weeks. They're already on all the music platforms. And we have a very special thing coming up this weekend. It's the first Saturday of the month, kids.
Don't you say it, scream it! X-Night!
So Mike Joshua once again bringing the love and the excitement from the days of yore, the 90s, X-Night.
And Linder's gonna be dancing.
They do it in their basement, and it's live.
Oh, I've heard
Twitch.
They do it all around.
Well, they do.
All over the place.
It's a good-looking couple.
What can I say?
They do it whenever they can, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So we'll be on the X-Night live feed on Twitch this weekend as well. You can, sit there and comment, but more importantly, you can dance, and you can dance in your own living room. And when he does sort of the grand finale of the night, it's almost like a fireworks display. You start off and like, oh, this is a really good song. And then you're like, oh, I can sing this one out.
It builds to a crescendo.
And then you get to the point, just like at X-Night, where you're begging them to play something lame because you cannot get off the dance floor.
You're starting to cramp up.
Yeah.
Your life is flashing before your eyes.
Mike Joshua is here. So
Michael.
Mike. It's so the last Saturday, the last X-Night we did, I danced for a solid 20 minutes.
She got all like trancy and everything.
In our living room, to the point where I almost gave Dave a lap.
All of a sudden I look and she's got a binky in her mouth. She's swinging a glow stick,
I
and it's
never had a binky, ever.
And she's like, here, have some orange juice. I'm like, man, I don't want any orange juice.
I woke up the next morning.
She's like, is it hot in here?
My hamstrings were on fire. What a great workout. But man, he hits you with that like Renegade Master and
D4 Damager.
Power to the people. And then, all the Rage Against the Machine. And oh God. It's just,
and of course, yes.
Yeah.
My hamstrings can barely handle it.
Yeah. It's a lot. Jim Pericotti, I'm dehydrating. Someone put on Morrissey. Seriously, that's what it was like.
Exactly, right.
And even, pre-Josh at X-Night, when Dwayne Bruce would be there, we'd be begging the same thing. And then we're like, please play something lame. And then he'd go into Jesus Built My Hot Rod. And we were like, ah! So yeah, I'm giving away a Steve Shook Axis print this week. All right, Mike Joshua, very nice. We got giveaways.
Mike, I just wanted to say I heard you on a little ad the other day, and I love your work, baby. The dulcet tones of Mike Joshua came over, and he was what was it? It was Car Shield.
Yeah,
it was Car Shield, Mike, and you sounded great.
You like Sean O'Brien likes the shirt. So this is why I have this shirt on. It's Sunnydale High School, and of course I went to Salem High School, which is SHS, so I always love wearing it anyway. But if you can see, there are fangs because it's Sunnydale. And one of the first things when I first met Rice, he found out that I was a huge Buffy the Vampire Slayer fan, and he is as well. So we bonded over that. So that's why I'm wearing this shirt. And Sean, I'm excited that you had one too, and maybe we should find you another one. I have worn this thing almost out completely. I love that Mike Joshua is having a giveaway. Now remember, it's on Twitch. If you're not a gamer, Twitch is still pretty great. You can do all these live things and interact, and you can hit the tip jar. But getting to listen to all that music and be at X night without leaving the comfort of your own home or the unisex bathroom, which always was a plus, but not for everybody. I can remember taking my like sort of normal friends to X night once in a while, and they'd be like, "There was a dude in the bathroom."
Square friends?
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, the upstairs bathroom is unisex," and they would be like, "Ah!" Oh,
fast forward to 2021.
Speaking of old, I should. Oh, right, of course. We do have to. We talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's not it. I read it. Calm down. Joss Whedon has officially been canceled, and it's very upsetting to see how poorly he treated people on his show.
You know,
and it's accusation after accusation after accusation. It's definitely something that seemed to really happen. And
well, listen, the name of his production company is not Good Robot.
That's not Joss.
Who is it?
That's what's his face who saved the Star Wars franchise. Bad Robot is not Joss Whedon, honey.
It's not?
It's J.J. Abrams.
Oh, thank God.
He didn't watch Lost. He obviously doesn't
See,
know.
I didn't know. I feel good about that.
I guess you didn't know. Speaking of awesome
Good
X-Men
music
songs.
time.
Jim Pericotti, Smithwick's wasn't unisex, but all the stalls were low, so it might as well have been. Oh, right. I did have some good times at Smithwick's in Lowell. Thank you very much. So I think we're only like a minute away. Oh, I think Rice is actually in the green room.
Ooh.
If you're ready, we're ready. Can we get Rice on? Executive producer Kevin? I'm very excited.
He's in.
I want to see Rice.
Rice.
We're ready for a palette advice from Rice.
Where is he?
Well, he's obviously enjoying all these little snacks that we've left out in the green room.
The green M&Ms only.
We're ready for Rice. We are ready for Rice. And while we're waiting, I feel like there was other music. Oh, you had a really good listening sesh, if you will. There he is.
Hey.
You were talking about all the songs that were playing on ERS that were blowing your mind.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, not for nothing, I heard the Lemonheads Confetti today on ERS.
Take your
like really.
Take your Zoom off mute or take yourself off mute so you can talk to us. There you are. Hello.
Go ahead.
And now I can't hear you.
You know, you're supposed to talk.
Maybe it's because you have your
headphones
in? Your headphones in? Because you're on your computer?
Oh, I hear noises.
Can we hear you now? Say something.
Something, Rice. Say something.
Executive producer Kevin, is there an extra mute button somewhere that we can't see? Because he looks fine. Oh, we can hear myself.
You can't hear me, huh?
There he is.
Welcome, Rice.
Hey.
Hi. Hi. So we were explaining to the maybe 2 or 3 people that are on that don't already know you and love you, how you helped us all through the pandemic with your pal advice from Rice. And I didn't want to immediately get into all the awesome good rock music and not mention the fact that you really did save a lot of us. Not only did you remind us to wash our feet, which was very important, but being able to see your face every morning and have that sort of calm demeanor and be like, we're all in this together. We're gonna be okay. Like it was
Just reminding me that somebody loves me.
it really was. And I know you're like, oh, it's no big deal, whatever. Like you really, and I'm sure the comments will go crazy too.
Going on a year now.
And somebody actually said when they heard that we were going to have you on, that we were going to have a live pal advice for Rice, but I'm not going to put you on the spot. So I'm just happy you're here.
Well, my go-to is always to wash your feet. That's always.
But it's amazing how many people don't wash their feet because they think the water trickles down. They don't need to.
Wait, it doesn't?
Nope.
There's some. Just take a peek around when you're at the beach the next time, man. It's not good.
Gnarly peds.
Yeah. Also, Rice was my beach buddy during the pandemic as well. I mean, you know, we socially distanced, but man, we really got mad at some beachgoers who did not. Not everybody played by the rules this summer.
No, they did not.
But I also love you for being my my beach buddy this summer.
Oh, it was my pleasure.
I want to talk about the song. So one of the things about Rice, first of all, how many bands are you currently in right now?
Technically, I'm in 3.
So Abby Barrett.
Yep.
Stars Like Ours.
Yep.
And then what's the third band?
Mill Pond Falls.
Oh, right, of course, Mill Pond Falls, which is more of your deal. Are you drumming in that or no?
I play guitar.
Yeah.
And,
okay. So you're more of you're up front, if you will.
Yes, I'm from behind. I'm out from behind.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We've known you for as long as we have, but most of the time you're either on stage behind a drum kit or you're side stage helping somebody out. Like you're always at the show. Every show we're at, you're there. And 99% of the time you're working in some capacity. So this was the first time we've really had a proper dose of you as a frontman and a singer-songwriter. And how long had you been working on this? The song that you released is called Last to Know, and we went completely nuts over it. Like,
definitely love it.
And we're not just like, oh, you're our friend and it's nice, so thanks. It's like, no, we listen to it all the time.
Yeah, it took us back.
It has a 90s vibe to it. You know, it does have that little like Sheila Divine hum vibe.
Little wall of sound.
But it's so lush. The production is great. And you made this cute little video, which we're gonna play at the end of the show tonight. And at one point you have a little head in a box and it's just a head. So take us through, like, how long have you been working on this? Was it a pandemic thing where you already started before that the world went to hell, or?
No, I had been trying for a number of months to write music. Maybe even in the last couple of years, I've been trying to do something different, and not to get all nerdy, but like tuning my guitars all weird and trying to get all like sonic youthy and do some different stuff. And I got really frustrated because I couldn't really come up with anything. And I'm not very creative in the summertime. So like over the pandemic, I really was like, man, I'm not feeling it very much. And I got super frustrated one day and was like, I'm sick of this. I can't come up with anything. And I was like, I'm going to pick up my guitar and put the capo on the 4th fret like Johnny Marr and write like really something simple. So I think I wrote that in about 20 minutes. And it was about,
wow.
It's been about 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks ago. So I recorded it in about 2 weeks total, between myself recording the drums, the guitar and the vocal, and then having Joe play on it, which, you know, I sent it to him virtually and had Tom mix it. Joe McMahon played bass on it. And then I sent it to Tom Polche to mix, which took like a day. And then, you know, he mastered it. So the whole thing was done in 2 weeks.
That's
And I,
crazy.
Pretty sweet.
But that's
you
the
know.
muse, right? When a song comes to you that fast, it, you know, when all the things kind of click together really fast like that, you know, it's almost like you sit back and let the muse drive, right? And it just
Oh
kinda,
yeah, it's I say, like, you know, you tap into the ether of creativity or whatever, and you're just the sort of the vessel for it,
Yeah.
you know.
yeah.
So they tapped me that particular day. Of course, I'm trying to write more songs now, and I'm like, this is not going as
Where
easy
are
as
you?
yeah.
Why have you forsaken me?
Muse,
Like
where
the
are
last
you?
one took 20 minutes. Why is it taking so long?
Kevin Pickering is on. He says you were the lead singer in FBA.
Yeah, Full Body Anchor. We were in a band together called Full Body Anchor. It seems like a long time ago, close to 10 years ago, probably.
Now, what was the first big band that you, you know, when Rice first became like a musician, like take us through the timeline quickly, if you don't mind, because there's a lot of big stops along the way, I feel.
Yeah. When I was 16, I had a band called Mishmash Cat that we used to play at Derringer's, and which was like an all ages club in Brockton. I don't know if you were ever there, but like,
Where they actually gave you
no.
a Derringer at the door as you went in.
yeah. And that band got pretty popular. Like we opened for White Trash at one point. Do you remember that band?
Vaguely.
And then I think next probably I had another band after that maybe, and then I joined Bigwig, which was they were pretty successful. That was around the time of like Honky Ball and Scissor Fight and all that stuff. And then it starts to get really compacted because everybody now somebody finds out that I can play drums, which is always
Right.
That's it. Once somebody finds out you can play drums even a little bit, it's over.
That's what I said to my daughter when she wanted to learn an instrument when she was a kid. I was like, I want you to play drums. And she was like, huh? I'm like, you'll always have a gig.
Yeah.
Or she was like 6 and didn't sort of understand, but yeah.
It'll be over. And then I started Darkbuster.
Which you know, I'm sure everybody on here has heard or is a fan. It's, you know, the band is still together in some form, is it not?
I think so. It's sort of, I guess. Yeah.
But like you're one of the founding members of that band. That's a pretty significant piece of the Rice lore, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And around that time too, like I started a band with some friends, Heidi too, that like they became like Janet, Juanita was in for a while afterward. But
now,
I actually
did
started
you
that
go
band.
to LA with them and that whole thing?
No, this was like way before when it first started. It was me and Lisa and Jill and my friend Sandy, and then yeah, I was out of the picture for a lot of that. But I co-wrote a couple of the songs for them, and then I joined Senior Happy, which was a Q Division band for a little while.
And Senior Happy was one of Dave Wanamaker's bands as well, right?
No, that Dave's band was Loveless and Expanding Man.
Senior Happy was why can't I think of his name?
Skanky? Derek, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. They used to do bills a lot together. Like
they did. Because they were label mates. Like Expanding Man, I think was before they got signed to.
Yeah.
I think they part of the Q label, so they did, you know, they would do shows like I was in and out. There were a lot of guitar players for that band that did time.
Yeah, that was a very large roster, if memory serves.
Yeah,
all right, so after Senior Happy.
Then I had started a band called Linus, which was pretty much I like went in and recorded a record. It was kind of like a Foo Fighters thing where like I had a bunch of songs and I had made a record. But I wanted it to be a band or sort of, that was kind of the intent eventually. We played around for a bit with not very much success. There was some bad timing. There was sort of like a changing of guards as far as like in town goes. I was in and out of Darkbuster here and there. And then and then there was a long period where I didn't do much, and I started
Sounds like me.
Full Body Anchor with Amy Griffin, who I knew from around a bunch
Miss
of stuff,
Amy.
but we
Miss
played in
Amy, one
Darkbuster
of the
together.
greatest guitar players we're lucky to know.
Yeah, and Kevin from the Dents, and my wife Kristen, and my friend Dennis, who was in like the Marvels and 00700 Club. So we did that for a while, and then sort of
speaking
began.
of your wife, Kristen, she's on right now. She just said Drago.
Oh yes. Oh God. Yeah, totally. And I had for like 20 years, we had a hardcore band called Drago, which,
Drago.
older folks playing hardcore, but we like, nobody wants to hear you talk about pull yourself up by the bootstraps. So we like sang songs about mowing your lawn and ruining your tattoos and stuff like that.
Were there any actual lines from Drago? Like, I must break you. Was there any of that or not intentional?
We did quote, so there were some Red Dawn references. There was a lot of
Nice.
like, there was a lot of like sort of our childhood sort of in there, Red Dawn and those sort of things, being fearful of the end of the world. And
I used to quote that movie constantly with the line, "Avenge me, boys!
oh yeah,
Avenge me!"
I mean,
standing on the chain link fence.
I think if I had this kind of money that people make off of spinning Spotify off of how many times I've watched Red Dawn, I would have so much money. I have so much money.
I'm so old. I saw that in the theater. And
I remember the trailer because it was the first PG-13 movie.
Yes, it was. And we didn't know much about the movie going into it. My friend Terry Manning and I don't know if she's on or not.
I don't remember if I saw that at the movies.
But and we were young, I think we were like 12 or 13 or whatever. And we go to see this movie and it's about, at that point, we knew nothing about being invaded. Wasn't a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't a possibility.
Not
It was
since
never going to
1812.
happen. Nothing. And you're in this movie theater and you're in this world where this could be you. And this could happen tomorrow. And it scared the bejesus out of us.
I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified.
You were waiting for the Cubans to fall out of the sky?
Oh my God. And it escalates so quickly. It's like 2 minutes into the movie and the dude's hanging out of the window and he's gone. Like we were out in the playground, I remember, and there was an Air Force base not close to where I lived, but like close enough that the planes would fly over. And one day the couple of F-14s fly over and my buddy's like, "This is it." We were like 12 or something. And I was like, no, I lost my mind. Cause I'm like, this is it. Red Dawn's happening. It's happening. We have to go to the mountains. And there isn't any mountains around here.
Blue Hill.
Yeah. There was half the state is crammed into Blue Hills, like trying to survive off of nothing.
Wolverines!
Yeah.
So after Drago, so at this point, you and Kristen were in a lot of bands together. And when does Stars Like Ours fit in? I don't want to leapfrog over something important either. So.
No, Stars Like Ours. I'm terrible at dates. I'm sure that everyone's commenting like, yeah, these are the dates that happened with.
Well, between
again,
Kevin Pickering and your wife, you're not getting away with anything. So don't worry. The comments are all here. They'll keep you in line. So
that's great. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Drago, we had played for a long time, like probably mid 2000s or early 2000s to like, we played for like 10 years and then we did like a reunion kind of thing. Stars Like Ours started 8 years ago, maybe.
So
we're not going to hold you to this stuff. We're not going to look it up, and
that sounds about right because
we have to print a correction.
I think you were still a relatively new band when I came back into town because I was living in LA. I moved back in 2012, so that sounds about right. And it's a 3-piece, and it's Michelle Paulus, your wife, yep, Kristen, and yourself. And it's a 90s, like it's a love letter to all of and it's such a great band to see live too.
Unapologetically 90s.
Yeah.
Unapologetically 90s.
Yes, exactly.
Which I feel like is pretty much everything that most of the things that I do are sort of.
But it's also the things that we tend to gravitate to. And I don't know if it's because it's a nostalgia thing or because music was just really good then, or, I mean, because what were the 90s but a reflection of the 60s? You know, like we were, you know, people that were making music in the 90s were taking stuff that had, you know, the 60s and the 70s and making it their own anyway. So when you hear all these bands today that they're like, that just sounds like the 90s to me. Well, because that's what they grew up on, or that's what they've gone back and discovered for themselves.
It's oldies now.
It's oldies now? Oh my God, Bryce, we were in Market Basket the other day, literally like 2 or 3 days ago, and they were playing Spoon and Death Cab for Cutie. So does that mean we're officially old? Is that
At Market Basket?
Oh, definitely.
Like, because Dave was like, maybe some cool kid got a hold of the. I'm like, no, Dave. No.
Old.
We're old.
Old.
Like, but I think that's why this song resonates with us so much, because it really did. Like, I you know, there's that scene in the movie Ratatouille where he eats the ratatouille and immediately goes back to his childhood, you know, on a French farm or whatever. For me, when you started playing that song, I was immediately back in the paradise circa, you know, 94, 95, you know, and I was just like, it was like, I just wanted to wear it like a warm coat, you know?
I think so many of those bands were there were so many bands that influenced like so many of us. Like I was just watching something about Swerve Driver today.
Oh my God,
like,
yeah.
You know, every band that I can think of that I mentioned, whether it's, you know, like you said, Hum and, you know, GBV or My Bloody Valentine or Shudder to Think, or like any of these bands, they were so, it wasn't just a band that I like, that we liked, or that I liked, you know, or a band from, you know, like the first tape I ever bought was the Fat Boys, but it didn't really influence what I wrote, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I didn't see it in this song.
By the way, one of the Fat Boys just passed away. I don't know if you heard
I know. My buddy Dan texted me and told me, yeah, there's one left.
No, really? There's only one left? I didn't realize that.
They call him Fat Boy.
Yeah, the human beatbox passed away in like the early 90s, I think.
Okay.
Mid-90s.
But it is funny. We did also, like, in the 90s, there was that whole, I mean, was I fully ensconced in the grunge era? Absolutely. Was I also a huge hip hop fan? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Those things were not mutually exclusive in any way.
Right.
But I didn't, you know, I'm sure you were like, well, I'm probably not going to be the next beatbox king, so I think I'm going to stick with the car.
I tried.
Were you part of a crew? Did you have an Adidas tracksuit?
Yeah. Did you carry around?
I may or may not have had a breakdance lesson. I may or may not have taken a breakdance lesson. It's
wow,
possible.
An actual lesson.
Well,
oh yeah.
If you were taking lessons, it was past its prime.
Yeah. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Kristen says you were also in the Blue Bloods for a short amount of time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Her and I, we managed to, like, we literally forced our way into that band.
Really?
Like,
how does one do that?
They were like, oh, these guys, like, we played a gig one night. I think Darkbuster had a gig with them, and they were like, oh, both of the guitar players are leaving the band. And that night on the way home, I had called Tim, or was like, hey, I have a proposition. We could be in the band like tomorrow if you want. And they were like, oh, yeah, okay. So it was amazing because we were huge fans of the band. Like, we knew all the songs. We were super psyched to do it, you know? So it was really cool. Like, I've had a really great pleasure of being able to do, even if it's one-off gigs, being able to play with some of my favorite bands. Like, I played a gig with the Clairvoyants. Did you guys ever know that band?
No.
It's a beautiful record, and I got to play a show with them. I got to play with Andrew Gillis. I've gotten to play with, like, I played with Hip Tanaka a gig. Like,
yeah,
you know, very lucky.
Didn't you do a little something with a little group called the B-52s?
Yeah, and my favorite band of all time, I got to play with them, which is amazing, you know?
We talked about that on the show last week, but can you just sort of give us the short version of how that actually happened?
And how did that happen?
Like, how did you hit that lottery?
The short version is, well, two things. If you are as big of a nerd of something, when someone needs to tap into that level of nerdistry, that's sort of how. But yeah, Mike Deneen was friends with the manager of the B-52s, and he was talking to him about how they wanted to re-record some of the material so they could, use it for licensing and do that whole thing like Ozzy
Right,
did.
because so a lot of bands ended up going back and re-recording, even in the hip hop community. Naughty by Nature went and re-recorded all their stuff because they didn't own the masters. And so that makes perfect sense. But oh my God, like just because Mike Deneen knows Wayne, how did that still happen for you? Was it because your level of knowledge of the band and nerdery was so high?
Yeah, well, it also comes down to like Ed V, right? So Mike says, "Oh, I need somebody to play guitar for this B-52 session. Do you like? I don't have any idea who to ask to do this weird thing." And Ed's like, "I know a guy."
Ed V, the great connector.
I know a guy.
Yeah. And so I was one of the original members of Bikini Whale, which is the B-52's tribute that's around here,
who we love,
the best.
And I went deep, like that guy uses like 4 strings on his guitar and weird tunings and weird. So it's like I knew all the songs and all the parts like going in. So Ed was like, "Yeah, I know a guy that knows the tunes, knows all. You just got to get him in, So yeah, to get that call, I mean, I'm eternally grateful. It was an amazing moment. I mean, we recorded the music without them there, and then when they came to do vocals, I weaseled my way into the studio and got to hang out with Fred and Kate for an afternoon, which was just, we could have a whole like other show about Fred Snyder stories. He asked if he offered me ginger snap cookies. That's all you have to know, is that's pretty much.
I'm picturing you like playing it cool and then going to the bathroom and going,
oh, when I walked into the studio, I walked in and Fred was like sitting in the waiting room. And mind you, by the way, I had sat in my car for 20 minutes before I went inside because I was too nervous. And then when I walked inside, I just ran into the bathroom, shut the door, and was like texting Mike, like, "Dude, I can't do this." He's like, "Come on, come in the studio." I'm like, I'm in the bathroom hiding. He's like, "Dude, get out of there."
Do you know what's funny is, like, to the casual observer, I don't think anyone would think that you would need to be intimidated by Fred Schneider, but anybody who really knows the real deal would totally be intimidated. So I understand completely.
Oh yeah, and he's everything that there is no sort of like on stage Fred and off stage Fred. Like
it's all
like, it's what this sort of, hey, like it's what it is. It's real life. It's not
I've
a character.
Got a monster in my pants and it does a freaky dance.
That's what it is in real life. Like,
oh, that's
people
awesome. I'm glad.
Every time somebody would say something, he would follow it up with, "Well, I bet Trump doesn't like it." Like everything. It was like, "Hey, that tambourine's too loud. I bet Trump doesn't like tambourine." Like anything he said, it was amazing. It was awesome.
Oh my God. Of course he would have an in the moment, up to date, not a punchline. What is, I totally just catchphrase.
Yeah.
He would have a catchphrase. Of course. Yeah. Fred Schneider. Makes total sense.
What a good dog.
So normally at this part of the show, we would say goodbye to the guest and talk about things to eat, cook, and bake, but we're not letting you go, just so you know. But I do want to talk about the diabolical baking that has been going on in your house.
Oh my God.
Every weekend since the pandemic started, pretty much. I don't know how long ago this went. So explain to those who don't know what's been happening in your house, and kudos to you for keeping your girlish figure, because I would be 500 pounds looking at those.
Oh, I'm on a big regimen of like, I have to pretty much not eat during the day at all. and then the nighttime comes, and then it truly is the Fat Boys all you can eat video. Like it's just me just going to town on sweets and whatnot. But yeah, my wife and her friend Molly, my friend Molly, they got hooked on, as we all did, got hooked on the Great British Baking Show.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when those guys hang out, they were like, there's nothing to do. So they're like, hey, maybe we should start like baking stuff, I guess. Like I don't know what else to do during this time. And so they started, and they just dove like head first, like making the
It's
craziest
the real
stuff.
deal. Like they're not like, oh, let's just stick.
No,
Here's a box
there's no
of
corners.
Betty Crocker, or
no.
it's not that at all.
No, and they're like, oh, we're gonna make the thing from episode 6, and I'm like,
from scratch.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
And then they do.
Scratch, and some of the stuff is totally amazing, and I'm just like, wow. And I think this past week they made 2 different kinds of madeleines from scratch, which I don't think are easy to make anyway.
They're not.
And they had done macarons. Yeah, and one of the batches end up looking like little kitty cats, and I was like, oh, so when are they opening their first shop? Seriously, like when is that happening? Or
I think that's their biggest fear, is that like now when the pandemic ends, is like the amount of text messages and emails like, make me the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's
hey, you're invited to this party I'm throwing. Make sure you bring.
Yeah, exactly. We need 17 princess cakes by tomorrow.
You can make that happen, right, Kristen? Thanks. Awesome. Holly Cantor has a question. Rice, what was your favorite thing Kristen and Molly have baked so far?
What was my favorite thing that they made so far? There was oh man, that's hard. I like so many of the things. There wasn't like an espresso cake. I don't know what it was called.
I'm sure your wife will pop in and tell us what it was in a second.
Yeah, what was the espresso cake?
Battenberg.
What?
Battenberg?
Yeah. That might have been my favorite. And there was also, I like anything with like jams, or like jam and strawberry kind of stuff on there. It was like a 8-layer cake with just like cream and jam.
Okay, listen, we made a mistake having you on the show.
We're so hungry.
We did not eat dinner before the show.
So this is one of those rare Wednesdays where neither one of us got a lot of sleep.
It's a terrible miscalculation on our part.
So instead of eating dinner early, which is what we normally do, or have something to tide us over, we decided to take a nap instead. So neither one of us have had anything to eat for hours.
I'm well rested though. I'm very well rested.
So like, I want to go knee deep, because Kendall's been diabolically baking here from scratch, but her thing wasn't so much the British Baking Show, it was the TikTok videos. But she's doing stuff from scratch too. And we're just, kudos to you, because seriously, it's tough.
I'm a little hurt that none of it's come by here though. Like,
well, there's a pandemic. We can't just like have stuff come.
So
I mean, even Rice wouldn't come into the house when we had him, and when he came to go to the beach.
He doesn't have to come in. He could just leave it on the stairs.
I don't think that's nice. Hi, Kristen and Molly. Could you make us food and then not come in and say hi? That'd be great.
And you are.
I think they would be okay with that. Actually, they would probably be all right.
All right. Well, if that's okay, then yes. And
if they need to test anything,
didn't they make cake pops?
Did they make cake? No, I don't think they made cake pops.
Lollipop.
Maybe not. The macarons.
It's a fantasy she's having.
The macarons were impressive, though. I will say that, because those things are really difficult to make. But almost everything, they did like a Yule log. I remember that.
That actually looked like a piece of wood.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, there was a couple of logs. The logs were amazing. The second batch of eclairs were. I think I ate 15. I just ate them all, like whatever they were. They didn't last a day. They were gone.
Oh, that custard.
Whatever was in the house.
Oh Lord.
Well, Kristen says for you guys, anything. So now we're gonna hold you to that. I mean, I know there's also drinking involved too.
Use us.
Important. I think.
Use us as test subjects.
Yeah, we will totally be test tasters. Taster testing. We'll
Taste
do that.
testing.
Yeah.
Testing.
But I do love how the videos sometimes they're knee deep in the schnapps or whatever.
Oh
Not
gosh,
tough, but
yeah.
it's it really needs to be its own show, and I imagine that our executive producer would probably hit them up for more content on the community access. So Kristen, you may just get a phone call.
It would be
Right.
The
it would-
worst-
You could be the music director.
The worst talk show test kitchen.
yeah, that would be incredible. I mean,
Actually, it would be awesome to have them on the show, or to do like a little segment and we can play it. That would be awesome. We're total. Look at us. We're booking
That's
next
it.
week's show.
We're already done. We're in the can, people. Let's go wrap it up here. Look at what time it is.
It's 8:30, and Rice, when are we going to get more music from you? Is that the only single that's sort of ready to go?
that's the only one ready to go, but I'm definitely in the works of doing more. So, I don't know when. I mean, hopefully maybe, another one at this year. I mean, I'm going to probably take my time promoting this. Like, people used to promote stuff for like a year, right? Like do talk shows and like I'm doing multiple talks. Like, I'm going to go on Arsenio next week. Like, what? I mean, maybe if he calls, I'll definitely do it.
I mean,
Well,
Arsenio has been out of the public eye, but Coming to America.
Coming to America too.
So maybe there's still hope, but there's still hope I can
There
be
is
on the
still
Arsenio
hope.
show.
So the song is called Last to Know. Anything you want to say about the video? Because we're going to go right from you to the video, and that's going to be the end of the show. Or we might have lost him. So,
Oh, there he
you
is.
are. That was weird.
Somebody was trying to call me on the phone. That's amazing.
Oh, there you go. So quickly, just about the video, was it all shot in your basement?
It was shot at an undisclosed location.
Okay.
I won't
Who shot it?
We thought for sure it was your basement. I'm sorry.
I won't say where it was, but it was
Okay.
in an undisclosed location. It's not a secret. Like, it was.
Was it in the United States?
It was in the United States.
Okay.
And who shot it?
Abby Barrett helped me shot it, and she helped me edit the
Nice.
video. She was the editing genius behind that for sure.
It's a great video. I
Thank
really,
you.
really, really enjoy it. And it's already gotten some huge love on Twitter from some big heavy hitters, which is nice.
Yeah, your disembodied head is just great. I just love it.
I love
The head in the
disembodied
box.
right head.
It was
Um,
not, that was not fun. Like, you would think, oh, what's the big deal? I was freaking out. It was not cool.
What is that from Pee Wee Herman? Wasn't that there was a character whose head was in the box. He was like a
Zombie?
swami or something. Zombie. Yeah.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Mecca lecca high,
Mecca
Mecca high ho.
Yeah.
Mecca like a
that's what
high,
I
Mecca
thought of.
Johnny ho.
Oh,
Ah.
there you go. All right, Rice, we love you. Where can they download the song right now?
Right now it's available on Bandcamp. It will be up on all other services as soon as that, probably next week, I think.
Great.
It should be up there, and the video's on YouTube, and you can save it to your, I don't know what to do. I don't know what you do with videos.
Subscribe.
Okay, so
You can subscribe to the
YouTube.
channel.
Can we have Rice take us into the video?
Yeah, why don't you throw it right into your own video?
This is Last to Know by Rice Edmonston.
Thanks, guys. We love you.
I
See you
love
next week.
too. Now, can you guys still hear me?
We can hear you.
We can't hear the
We
video.
can't hear the video.
That's probably for the best. Yeah, I like how Orem was calling me just a minute ago, and I'm like, dude, what the man?
Yeah, we our executive producer assured us that everything was going to go great. It'll be in the finished show anyway, the one that goes out to all the different community access stations. So we'll
But
figure it out.
Everyone's
Sorry
sitting
about
at
that.
home right now going, hey,
I don't hear it. It's just like the Golden Globes.
oh man.
Someday we'll figure it out. But the visuals are awesome, and that's all that matters. So go listen to the song. You can just search Rice Edmonston, Edmonston, on YouTube, and The Last to Know will come up. So there you go. Bye, guys. We love you.
Thanks, Rice.
Thanks,
Nice
Rice.
job.
Thank you. Bye.